Hello, it's Chris Chambers from Proudhouse Property Management, and today I want to talk about the top 5 things that I think tenants should always have with them kept in their homes. So these are the sorts of things that tenants would use to make themselves feel comfortable if there's an emergency like a boiler breakdown, or it might just be little tools and little things that you can use to help with basic maintenance and those sorts of things. So first on my list at number 5 is a basic toolbox. And here we are. This is my toolbox, which I must confess is fairly substantial because I've done in the past lots of DIY, lots of maintenance on buildings. I've also was an electrician for nearly 10 years as well. So in fairness, I have acquired quite a few tools, but I keep them all in one container and I have it with me pretty much not just in the house, but everywhere I go. My top tip is to keep your toolbox in the back of your car, in the boot of your car. And then not only do you have it available at home, but also if you go to friends and relatives' houses, or you never know, wherever you might be, you occasionally need a screwdriver and you can help fix things. So your toolbox does not need to be as extensive as this, but nonetheless, a basic set of screwdrivers, a set of pliers, possibly some wire cutters, but also other little bits and pieces. Got a tape measure. Another thing that's really important, or very useful, set of Allen keys. You don't need to spend a huge amount of money. I wouldn't, however, recommend buying cheap budget tools. That can really not work out very well at all. But if you were to go to somewhere like B&Q or Screwfix or Toolstation, and if you were to buy their basic tool set, probably wouldn't cost you much more than about £10 or £15, and you'll have the basics. And then you'll be able to do all manner of things. So for example, tightening up cabinets and hinges, tightening up handles on windows that have become loose, using screwdrivers to take covers off smoke detectors so that you can replace batteries, and all manner of things. I'll put a rolling list of examples on this video. Okay, so that's at number 5. Now, next in at number 4, radiator bleed valve key. Okay, so this is what you would use to bleed your radiators and make the radiators heat up more efficiently. What sometimes happens is the radiators will have air trapped in the top part of the radiator, which means the radiator is not going to heat up properly. And then tenants will complain or report to us that the heating is not working very well. So, very simple. Probably costs £1, probably not even that, from a DIY shop, and then it fits onto the valve, which is normally at the top on one side of the radiator, and you give it a very slight turn and you can bleed the radiators, get the excess air out, and then all of a sudden it's like magic. The radiators will fill up with hot water and start heating. However, be careful, because if you're bleeding radiators, you'll also be depressurizing the system, which means your boiler pressure, if you've got a combi boiler, might go below limits and stop working. So you also need to make sure that you have, on number 3 on my list, is instruction manuals. Here at mine, for my house, I've got all manner of things in here. I just keep a file of them all the paper copies. So I've got lawnmower. What else have I got? I've got a dehumidifier. I've got an oven manual here. I think there's another manual. Yes, it is. All sorts of things. But the crucial thing that you need to have to hand is make sure that you've got the instruction manuals for your boiler. If you've got a combi boiler, so that you know how to repressurize the system. That's really important. Instruction manuals for your thermostat and or your programmer or your central heating timer, and also for your cooker. An instruction manual for a cooker might seem like an obvious thing, and perhaps a cooker might not be too difficult to work out, but sometimes the timers, the programmers and the clocks on the cooker can stop the cooker from working if they're not set correctly. So having the instruction manuals for your appliances is something really important. Okay, number 2 on our list now. Okay, this is getting involves a little bit of an expense, but I think really well worth it, because if you have, for example, a cooker breakdown and you've got no means of cooking at all, then where have I got it? Plug-in induction hob, I think, are brilliant. This costs, I think, about £85, so it's not cheap. However, having one of these is really useful. Not only that, it's also an excellent way of cooking more efficiently, because if you've got a traditional electric hob, they can use quite a lot of electricity, and actually in our current climate of rising energy costs, having a plug-in induction hob is quite efficient. Obviously that was the empty box. This is what it looks like. Plug it in and you're away. A really good idea, a really nice backup if your oven or your hob, or if your hob breaks down and stops working. Okay, obviously it's not going to replace your oven if that stops working, but you can also get small plug-in ovens as well, depending on how much of a backup you want to have. Okay, so we've now finally got down to number one item on the list that I really think tenants should have somewhere stored away, either in their loft, if you're allowed access to your loft that is, or in your garage, or in the cupboard under the stairs, wherever it might be. Number one item to have is electric heater. Boiler breakdowns are not that uncommon. We probably deal with heating problems once or twice a week across our portfolio of properties that we manage. And of course it's the landlord's responsibility to ensure that you can heat your home. But at this time of year, in the winter, lots of people are having heating problems, and sometimes it might take several days to get a tradesman out, a heating engineer out to you to fix the problem. And in that time, you don't want to be uncomfortable, so it's a really good idea to have an electric heater or two stashed away somewhere, ready to be used in times when you need a bit of extra heating. They're also useful for just on days when it's very cold. We've had some very cold weather recently, and even with the heating working, you might find that perhaps a room, depending on the size of your house, might need a little bit of extra heat. So a standby electric heater is a really useful thing to have in the event of a boiler breakdown or heating problems, etc. So highly recommend those. Okay, so that concludes our top 5 tips for items that we think tenants should have to help them feel more comfortable, and also to help them with little basic maintenance tasks around the home. Something to bear in mind as well, that these are not unique to tenants. These are all items that are in my own home. I own my own home. However, I still have these items, as you've seen. I'm in my own home here, and they are items that have come out of my garage, or out of my kitchen, or out of my car, or whatever it might be. So they're all things that I have as a homeowner, and it's exactly the same for tenants as well. Okay, hope that helps, hope that's useful, and if you've got any questions or queries, then you can always contact us at Proudhouse Property Management, or email office@proudhouseproperty.co.uk. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and next year we'll be posting regular updates on YouTube for landlords and tenants, so please subscribe to the channel and look out for more. Okay, thank you.